Welcome to Seacoast Stories, a podcast about the people, businesses, and newsmakers that make the Seacoast an American hidden gem. I'm Troy Farkas, and on today's episode, we start our month of exclusively female guests by talking to Kira Liu, the first female morning show host in the 54-year history of WOKQ, the Seacoast's #1 country music station. Take it from someone who used to work in radio when I say that. That is a big deal. The morning, when you're commuting to work or the gym or dropping off your kids, is the most coveted time slot. Kira and Logan in the Morning, which airs live from 5:30 to 10 a.m. every weekday on 97.5, is more than a show that plays country music. They're a critical part of many people's mornings on the Seacoast. In fact, that's why I fell in love with radio and podcasts in the first place. Because there is no more intimate relationship in media than that between host and listener. When the voice of someone you like and respect pipes into your ears, it hits differently than watching someone on a screen. So when their listeners call into the show, even if it's for the first time, they immediately feel like they're best friends with Kira and Logan, which makes for some powerful on-air moments. Plus, through their silly banter on the airwaves, Kira and Logan bring some levity to an otherwise crazy time we're living in. And that is the power of radio. On this episode, Kira, a Leominster, Massachusetts native, tells me how she broke into the often male-dominated business of radio and how she's navigated the toxic relationships that often come up in this business. Kira also gives her hot take on Taylor Swift, and as two people who love the Seacoast, we tell you about our favorite places for Mexican food, cocktails, lobster rolls, and beach pizza, whatever that is. Plus, during International Women's Month, Seacoast Stories is presented to you by JOBTALK LLC and Three Bridges Yoga, which I'll tell you more about later. But for now, we begin today's episode with how Kira got her big break.
My parents are a couple of thespians. They owned a small community theater in my town. And pretty much I grew up in the theater. They let me hand out programs, when I wasn't old enough to be in the productions. And then when I was old enough, they plopped me in on stage and, gave me roles. And when I was 11 years old, I played Helen Keller in a production of The Miracle Worker. Probably where my career peaked, to be honest with you. Had one line, but I got a really good review.
Do you remember the
in
line?
The Leominster newspaper. Yes, Helen is learning how to speak at the end. And she's like touching water that's coming out from a well. And she says, Wawa. The line was Wawa.
Wow.
And in rehearsal, I remember, because I've been a prankster since day one, it's like time for me to say my line. And I was like, line, which was the joke because I had one line the whole show. All my other things were grunts and things like that. So good times. But I wasn't like, I want to grow up and move to LA and be an actress or move to New York City and be on Broadway. I loved performing and I loved that feeling of creative expression, but I didn't have too much direction. I knew that I didn't see myself, working in an office or, having like a 9 to 5. I wanted something creative, but I wasn't sure what that was. And then radio sort of spoke to me because I'm a yapper naturally. And I thought to myself, well, people are getting paid to flap their gums. Like, where do I sign up? So I felt intrigued by that always. And it was always in the back of my mind that I would want to talk for a living if that were an option.
And so how did you enter into radio? Because it's something that's hard to get into. There's no conventional A to B method. You have to kind of meet the right people and play the system the right way. So how did you do that?
It's such a good point. You really do have to know people. And to be quite frank, I didn't know anybody. So I think that's why it took me a long time to get a foot in the door. I graduated from UMass Amherst and knew I didn't want to move back to Leominster. No offense to L-Town. But I wanted to get an apartment in Boston with my friends. And so I got a job doing software sales. And I felt like someone was slowly sucking my soul out with a straw. I just wasn't very good at it. I think that it can be really fulfilling and some people are really great at it. That just wasn't me. And so I got a job as a street teamer for a cluster of radio stations in Boston. And that means, nights and weekends going to different events. If a radio host was doing bar trivia, I would set up their table and set up their equipment so they could get on the mic and talk and give away prizes. And I would walk over and give someone a t-shirt if they won. And that was kind of my foot in the door and a way that I was able to build relationships with the on-air personalities. And from there, I got a full-time job as the receptionist at the radio station when that opened up. Director of First Impressions, I like to call myself. And I became sort of a character on the various morning shows in the building. Kira, the quirky front desk girl, would come in and I would talk on the different morning shows, tell stories of my weekends and tales of my youth.
I can relate to this as well because on the shows that I fill in on at Spotify, I also, in my chaotic 20s, I'm doing all sorts of crazy things. I have all sorts of crazy opinions. You and I were just talking before this, how I only have 3 spoons. And so middle-aged hosts are think I'm an alien, that I'm some kind of weirdo. And so they love exploiting me on the show.
Of course.
And I'm here for the bit as well. And I'll fully lean into whatever character they want me to be. So it sounds like you were kind of doing that same thing as well. They were living vicariously through you, and you were then becoming a character on the shows and able to show your broadcasting chops.
That's exactly it. And I was willing to share my life and bring in other characters as well. So I remember one bit that we did that was very successful. The host of the morning show, his name was TJ, the TJ Show. His grandpa was like a character on their show, single. We kind of got him on the air and talked to my grandma. They were both in their 80s and had lost their partners and were single. And they basically had a date on the morning show. And we orchestrated that, and we were, kind of telling them, tell her, Harriet, that you play the tuba. Everyone was so invested in their love story. And we sent them out on a date. And it's just stuff like that that's wholesome, that I was willing to play along and do whatever they needed for the show. And that's when it clicked for me that this is what I want to do. I want to share my life and bring people happiness because life is so serious. I want to remind people of the levity of it all.
And so for context, this is around 2014 time, right? And at a station in Boston?
Yeah, and from all my cameos on the various morning shows, I was able to gather enough experience, quote unquote, that I put together a demo and I sent it everywhere on God's green earth.
Yep.
And then, Herb Ivy, my now boss, reached out to me. And there was one thing on my demo where I'm Jewish and I freestyled a rap about Hanukkah and I called myself DJ Dreidel or something like that. And he was like, is this DJ Dreidel? We want to have you come in and talk about potentially moving up to Portland. So that was my first job. Same company, but that's where it all started.
I have to ask, do you remember this freestyle?
Oh my God. I don't think I do. I know that it was to the beat of Next Episode, Dr. Dre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you moved up to Portland.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. They had me up in Portland just to kind of see, because they were taking a chance on me, really. I had these little cameos on the morning shows in Boston, but I never had my own show.
Right.
So it was a little bit of a risk. So they took me there and it was a little bit of a trial period for 4 months. They had me... can I give this away? Oh, yeah, I'll give away a few radio secrets. So sometimes we do something called voice tracking where we're not actually live. So they had me voice track a midday show. And that's how I started. And from there, they had me hang out on the mornings. And then when an actual morning show opened down in Dover, where I am now, 8 years ago, I said, put me in, coach. Because I'm originally from Mass, so it was I want to be closer. New Hampshire makes sense.
Right. Wow, so you got to go to a morning slot in Dover just after limited time in Portland hosting?
Yes.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
Thank you.
Yeah, because for those of you who don't know, the morning show is the coveted slot. Morning show, that 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. window, and then your afternoon drive, your 3 to 6 are the prime time of radio. So that's pretty impressive that you got that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love you flexing your radio knowledge.
Oh, yeah.
Look at that.
How about that?
Talking day parts. Let's go.
Oh, gosh. Oh, if you want to talk hard outs, if you want to talk top, bottom of hour, whatever, we can do it all.
Here he goes.
We'll do that later, and I can recount some of the hell of working in radio. But you were doing it, so your life pretty much changes overnight. So what time were you waking up for these morning shows?
About 4:30.
4:30
in the AM.
And you're in your late 20s, mid-late 20s at this point?
Yeah, I started when I was 27.
Okay, so this is not the typical life of your 27-year-old.
Oh, certainly not.
Yeah.
And certainly not for me, Troy. I mean,
Yeah.
anyone who knows me knows that I'm a champion sleeper. I mean, now I have a baby, so life is different. But I was the gal I could sleep till noon and make it look easy. And so when I told people that like I had a job, that I had a 4:30 alarm, they were like, you? Everyone asked me if I was late all the time. And then it came to, they were like, you must really love it. If you're doing that, you, being you, are willingly waking up at 4:30, you must love talking on the radio. And I do. I really do.
How many cups of coffee were you having in the morning?
You know, I used to have more, but then, I got knocked up and you can only have one. And I never went back to having multiple. I just sort of.
Wait, is that true?
You can only have, it's about 12 ounces. Don't fact check me, pregnant people, but I think it's about 12 ounces that you can have.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Why? What's the risk?
I'm not too sure. I don't want to misspeak about it. I think you want to keep your heart rate in check.
Okay.
And I think it might not be good for the growth of the fetus if you're loading yourself up with caffeine. Cocaine's also not recommended.
Right. I've heard that.
Light use.
Yeah.
Kidding.
I'm sure you had to do that on the radio shows as well.
We do what we have to, Troy.
Trust me. Yeah. I've met some people in radio who have done those very things. So it's part of the biz, part of show business. All right. So what exactly did your early morning shows look like in the early days of you doing this? When you're 27, this is 2016-ish, 2015, 16-ish on this first show that you're doing. Because it's taken, the show that you're on now is not the one you were on then.
Exactly. So I started as the co-host, so I had a male lead, and it was really important to me. I find that a lot of times, in a morning show scenario where there's a male host and a female co-host, a lot of times the female falls into the laugh track kind of position where she's just there to giggle at whatever the lead says. And I wanted to make sure that I was able, because I got stuff to say, and I wanted to be able to show my personality and connect with the listeners as well. That was important to me. And morning radio is so much dependent on your partner. And if you don't have the right partner, the chemistry is off and it can be challenging and you feel like you're fighting to be who you are. Like the person is not giving you the avenue to be who you are. And it's so frustrating when that's your job. It's not my situation now. And I feel so lucky for that, but it took a little while to get there.
Yeah. I'm sorry to hear that because I've been in the production room where it's very clear that the hosts are not aligned. They have different opinions on which direction the show should be going. Something is coming up in between them. And on air, I mean, they're pros, so on air, none of that really comes to light. But once we hit that commercial break and the mics are off, it's so tension-filled and it's so uncomfortable for everyone involved.
It's really bad.
Yeah.
It can be super toxic and tough to work through. And in the environment, you're always, because you're creative people and you're always going to have disagreements. Like Logan and I will have disagreements. Like he'll bring up a topic and I'll be like, that doesn't really make sense for our audience or whatever. But there's push and there's pull. And then it's like, he really cares about this. He wants to talk about this. I trust him enough. He'll be like, seriously, Kira, this is a good idea. It's going to work. And I'm like, I trust you. And he does that for me. And it's like a mutual respect, and it makes it a healthy place to work because we respect each other and our ideas. But if you don't have that, you just don't feel, I don't want to say safe, but you don't feel like the show is an expression of what you want it to be. You're like putting this thing out in the world that you're not really that proud of. And it feels bad because you're waking up at 4:30 in the morning and sacrificing a lot of your life. And you just want to, put out a product you're proud of. And I feel like that now, but I haven't always.
So the first iteration of the show that you were on, as you mentioned, traditionally the female co-host takes the back seat. Did you feel like that was what was expected of you? Did you feel like you had to play to a role?
Yes, absolutely. I look back at that time and I feel bad for that, Kira. because I was just learning radio at that time. And the person that I was doing radio with, he wrote the show. So it was scripted. We were literally reading from a script and it was what he wrote. So I just felt like, oh my God, this is so far from me. These aren't even my words. And I had thoughts like maybe I don't even really want to do radio, because I thought it was improv and working on your toes and being funny and witty and bouncing off listeners and having organic conversation. And I'm like, oh, well, if this is radio, reading from a script, I don't think I want to do this. And then it wasn't until that host went on vacation and someone else came in to fill in with me. And I handed him the script because that's how I was taught. I was like, so I wrote the show. And he was like, what the hell is this? I was like, this is what we do. We write the show every day. We do this and at this break and this here. And he goes, throw that away. We're not doing that. And I was like, what? What am I going to say? He's like, we're going to talk to each other. That's what you should be doing. And so I had a liberating week where me and this fill-in had great radio. I was having so much fun. And then my host came back and started in with the scripts again. And I was like, no, I've done a week of real radio. This isn't it. I found out this isn't it. And it got to a point where I was like, I don't think that if this is the situation that we're going to be in, I don't think I want to do it anymore.
So I should pause and say that your first co-host did end up leaving the station. We don't need to get into the weeds of that out of respect for everyone involved, but you did get a new co-host and you were on the air with him on WOKQ for 3 years. And you learned a bunch in those years as you were really cutting your teeth in radio, I'm sure. So when you look back on those years, what did you enjoy most about them?
I felt like someone had unclipped my wings and I could finally fly. But the way that he let conversations breathe and didn't feel like he had to fill silences, he let listeners really speak and really listen to them and had organic reactions. And I felt like that's where the magic happens, when you don't feel like, oh, I have to get on and talk right now because we're going to be late for commercial. It's like he's going to play another song so we can actually have a conversation and make it be meaningful and good radio, and not just get on to talk just for the sake of talking. And I feel like that's so important. And that's where the connection happens. That's when your listener is on the other side of the speakers feeling like, that's my friend. That's someone that I know and I want to wake up and turn on their show every day to see what they're going to say.
And so fast forward to now, you and Logan crushing it. You're getting awards left and right. This is one of the most popular shows in the area. What do you point to as the reasons why you and Logan work so well together?
I think that Logan and I, though we're different and we argue about everything in a neggy, I always say that Logan is the little brother I never wanted. But I feel like people always say, I could tell that you two genuinely enjoy each other. And we do. And back to that respect thing, we respect each other's ideas. We both have the same vision for the show. We both want the same things for the show and have dreams of growing and doing live shows like you do. And I think that really helps to have someone that wants the same things, that feels fulfilled in the same way. We both feel it when we have a good show. We take our headphones off and we high five and we're like, that was some shit. Oh, I got to swear. We're proud of that. Pleasure doing business with you. So I think it's good to have a shared vision, and that's what makes it fun and feel like it's working. And it's always fun to go out and meet listeners, in the wild, because they remember the most random
Isn't
things.
that, yeah, that's always so funny. Like when I go, because I'm just talking I'm literally recording tracks in my closet, in my apartment, or I'm doing just conversations, someone's home. Literally no one else is here. This could be going to no one, but then I'm out and about and someone's like, oh, I can't believe you said that, or I was dying when you said that. I was like, you remember I said that? It's the funniest thing when that happens.
Mm-hmm. It really is. It's like, oh, wow, you were listening. It is such an interesting phenomenon because you feel like you're talking just in your room to no one.
Right.
Yeah, but the callbacks are crazy. It's like, how do you remember that I drink pickle juice when I'm hungover? They're like, oh, I do that too. It's like, oh boy, I said that. I do it, but I didn't know anyone else did.
Yeah, the majority. And when I was on the radio, I had a college radio show. I would just yap for 2-3 hours. And at the end of it, I would not remember a single thing I said.
Oh, yeah. Logan says that too, because I will bring up things that he said and he'll be like, what are you talking about? You said that not more than a day ago. You know, like, do you black out?
Yeah.
But I guess when you talk in that volume, it's like you're not going to remember everything you say.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So you guys said that you get along really well and you guys will be straight up with each other regarding ideas and things for the show. But I imagine at some point there's times where there's like a little tension or a little disagreement, but you guys spend so much time together and are so integral to the success of the show and the station. How do you get past those little bumps and bruises and for the better of everyone?
You just have to over communicate. And it gets to the point where sometimes it's nothing. Like he'll just be like, if he's being really quiet or something after the show, I'll be like, are we good? Like, did I piss you off? You know, he's like, oh, no, I'm fine. I'm actually just tired or something else is going on. But it's like the check-ins are almost incessant because it's like, we have to be good because our show depends on it. And so I think over communication, can't recommend it enough.
Yeah.
With radio partners, with life partners.
Yeah.
It's important.
I'll have to use that one at some point. That's good to know.
I think you probably wouldn't have any problem with communicating. I don't know you very well, but it seems like that wouldn't be a weak spot for you.
You'd be surprised.
Really?
You'd be surprised. Ask the women of the Seacoast.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. A man who talks for a living can't. We'll get into it. Give you my therapist number.
I'll have to call into the show at some point and you can work through my problems. Just for those of my listeners who maybe have not heard the show, can you just run down the format of the show? What does a daily show entail?
Yeah, sure. I don't think we've said this yet, but it is a country music intensive morning show. We play about 6 songs an hour. Are you a country boy?
I like some Kelce Ballerini.
Okay. Of all the names you pulled out, I love her. She's coming to the Garden.
She is.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, she is.
Oh, you know that.
Yeah,
this will be dated then, of course, because podcasts are pre-recorded. But any hoosers. So it is a country radio show. And in between songs, Logan and I have benchmarks, which in the biz is certain games or segments that we do at the same time every day, that people count on. When they're on their morning commute and they're turning left into their work parking lot, usually we're doing the good stuff, which is a local feel-good story happening in the area, which could be, there was a parade for a 102-year-old's birthday in Exeter, or a female-owned business that's doing well, whatever it is. That's the good stuff that we do at the same time every morning, a benchmark. Also, Can't Be Kira, which is a battle of pop culture wits.
Oh.
A listener will take me on. They get to kick me out of the room in any way they see fit. They can be rude, they can be sassy, whatever. They say, get out of here, Kira. And I leave the studio. Logan asks them 3 questions. I get called back in. I get asked the same questions, and if they beat or tie me, they win whatever hot prize we have up for grabs, which is usually a pair of concert tickets to Kelce Ballerini or someone else.
Okay.
And then we're just talking about, we have different call-in topics that we take listener calls, and it'll be either, a dilemma about our lives that we bring to the air to share. I recently brought on the air that I found out my husband is a gamer, and on the headset, he had like a girl that he played with. So I brought him on the air, interrogated him. It's good stuff.
Oh, wow.
And then we got callers from the gaming community as to if it was out of line, if I should say, I don't feel comfy with him gaming with a girl in the wee hours of the night. And so that's just an example of a real life scenario that we bring to the air.
I want to pause on that because this is something I think about often, bringing the real life scenarios onto the air. That's something I've always been very mindful of, because if you're someone in my life, like, I feel like I should ask your permission or have your consent to like talk about something going on between me and you, or something that happened between me and a friend or a partner or something, and then bring that on the air has always felt a little bit uncomfortable to me.
Absolutely.
How do you deal with that?
Oh my God. Well, it's gotten me into trouble.
I'm sure it has. Same.
I mean, you have to ask their permission. I've learned that in this particular example I gave you. I talked to my husband, Stephen, before, and I gave him the rundown of, what we were going to ask him and the nature of it, and if he was down to kind of get negged a little bit because that's what it was. And he was down to clown. He's also been, a radio husband for closing in on a decade. So he's used to my shenanigans. So I did ask permission there. But I had a friend who heard me talk about her. She was having a baby shower. She was pregnant. And one of our other friends was about to tell our group of college girls, we're not all together that much, but we're all going to be there, that she was pregnant with her second. And she was like, I can't believe she's going to steal my thunder at my baby shower and tell you guys that she's pregnant, type of thing. And I was like, who cares? And the friend whose baby shower it was heard that, got really mad. And I realized that I should have asked her. I didn't say her by name or didn't identify her in any way, but it didn't make her feel good. It made her feel exposed. And not everybody wants their life shared on the air. So you really have to be careful and protect the people that you love if you're going to share their shit. I could share all my stuff. That's my choice. But to bring in someone else's feelings, you really have to protect that.
Okay, so you take some callers as well, and you interact with them with all these fun games. By the way, I know you're big into pop culture, specifically Taylor Swift. You are a grown-up Swiftie, I've heard. What's your favorite Swiftie song?
Oh, man. God, it's such
It's got to be a country song, right?
It's good if I were to be politically correct. No, I truly love... That's when I got into Taylor's Teardrops on My Guitar.
Of course.
Tim McGraw, Our Song... should have said no. I mean, I feel like that is in the fabric of my being. I love Red. I love Reputation. But I think that OG Taylor is, for me, Teardrops on My Guitar. What about you?
My favorite Taylor song is I Knew You Were Trouble.
Okay.
It's a bop.
It is an absolute
there's so many
bop.
bops, but that one just gets me hyped the most.
Did you see the Eras tour? No. So you're not to that level. You're not going to like blow your life savings to go see her.
No. I mean, I would see her, but not for the prices. It's not worth it.
But of course.
Yeah. I haven't even seen the doc yet.
No?
No.
Troy, did you know that WOKQ was the first station in the country to play Taylor Swift?
I did know that because I read your article on WOKQ's website. And I also found out that Taylor Swift played at Gaslight.
She played at Gaslight.
How about that?
Of all places. On the patio.
Wow.
Can you imagine?
That's
Can
wild.
you imagine seeing Taylor Swift play at the Gaslight? To be in that. And then after I published that article, people came sliding into my DMs. I was there.
Wow.
It was like lightning in a bottle.
I don't know what year this was, but I saw Taylor Swift open for James Taylor.
You did?
Yeah.
What year is this?
In the Berkshires. I don't remember, but I was a wee child.
Okay.
At Tanglewood.
Did you feel some type of way? Were you like, this girl's awesome?
No, I was like, I'm here to see James Taylor. She's cool.
She's fine. Who's this curly Q playing a guitar? She's probably 16 years old.
Yeah.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Are she and Travis going to get married?
I don't know. I can't decide if it's real.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Do tell.
I don't know. It's just, I love, so I don't want to be a skeptic. But I've been reading a lot about premeditated, like, people with their publicists and people having relationships, like just for media and timing it all, or like making it look like they're together even after they broke up, like because of endorsements they have together and things like that. So I'm just like a little skeptic right now.
Really? Has something happened that has you thinking this way, or have you always been skeptical of it?
I just think that they're a really weird match, and I don't know what they talk about when they go out to dinner in New York City with Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds.
She is so out of his league.
I agree. And she looks like she has the ick every time he talks. Don't you think?
Yeah, that's fair. Like, Travis, shut your mouth. You're embarrassing me.
That's the vibe. Like, she is such a classy lady, walking perfection among us. She's an angel on this earth. And I just don't know what they have in common.
Right.
She was a theater kid in high school, okay? I don't know this for a fact, but I know one when I see one. And he obviously played...
He got kicked out of his college.
He got kicked out of his college. See, they're not... Well, she's a cat lady theater kid, creative soul, drinking tea on a Saturday night, and he still wants to do Jaeger bombs with the boys.
Right, exactly.
That's That's what I see. So I just don't understand it. It confuses me.
It confuses me as well.
Obviously, I want my girl to be happy.
I know.
That's all I want.
Of course. That's all we could ever want for Taylor.
And she does seem happy.
She does seem happy.
When she doesn't have the ick.
Coming up, Kira and I discuss our favorite Seacoast spots. But first, Seacoast Stories has some exciting offers to give you from some friends of the show. The first one comes from JOBTALK LLC, a one-woman show led by Seacoast lifer Crystal Hicks. Jobs have been Crystal's job for 17 years. She worked for Lindt Chocolate and UNH before starting her career consulting practice in 2019, a very successful business that recently won Crystal 40 under 40 recognition from the union leader. At Job Talk, Crystal helps job seekers of all industries with every aspect of their job search, whether that's by helping you craft the perfect resume, prepping you for a job interview, or teaching you how to ask your boss for more money. All of these meetings happen online, which helps Crystal serve her 400 plus clients across the country. I have two friends who landed their dream jobs after talking to Crystal, and they both love how she cuts through the typical BS of a job search to help you find what you're looking for. And if you know Crystal on a personal level like I do, you know she's a no-nonsense kind of person. If you don't have the time to meet with Crystal because your life is just insane, then she is offering something very special for our listeners. If you need a better LinkedIn profile, a resume, or a cover letter, then you can learn everything you need by purchasing one of Crystal's online courses for 50% off using the code Seacoast Stories 50 at checkout. All one word, Seacoast Stories 50 to get 50% off any virtual course on Job Talk's website throughout 2025. Excludes live sessions, only valid for the 4 Job Talk Academy courses. For more info or to schedule a free intro call, please visit JOBTALKLLC.com. I also want to tell you about Three Bridges Yoga, which, if you're familiar with my Seacoast story, then you know how much this studio means to me. Three Bridges Yoga has been the area's premier vinyasa yoga studio since 2011. At 3BY, it's not about doing headstands or wearing the fanciest leggings, because it's about the practice. Yoga is a way of life. It teaches us that we're all connected, that everything we've ever needed is within us already. And whether you want to sweat with KDB or do a candlelight flow with Whitney, Three Bridges has the perfect class and teacher waiting for you. Plus, the bonds built at 3BY are unlike any other, and I've met several of my best Seacoast friends in this sacred space. If you want to join this powerful community, then new members can get one free class by using the code STORIES at digital checkout all March. That's code STORIES all month when buying a class online at 3bridgesyoga.com. If you're an existing member, send an email to info@3bridgesyoga.com and the studio's owner, Stephanie, will customize a deal just for you. I can't wait to see you on the mat at Three Bridges Yoga. Thanks to Steph. Thanks to Crystal, and thanks to all of you. Now back to today's episode. An unexpected or unanticipated byproduct of me doing this show is I get a lot of requests or suggestions for who should come on the show to tell their stories. And it's been overwhelming for me. And I personally am just not interested in every subject. There's things I just couldn't hold a conversation about.
That matters.
Yeah, that matters. So I'm just wondering, I'm sure you get pitched left and right. I'm sure people come up to you left and right. I have this business. I should come on the show. You should tell this feel-good story. How do you deal with that?
That's a really good question. So for me, this is my show, right? I co-host it with Logan. It's our show, but we work for a brand. And so it doesn't always filter through, is it something I care about? Is it something our listeners care about? We think about our key demographic and if it's something that matters to them. And also, like, let's be real, we have to have advertisers. We have to keep the lights on and pay the bills and have commercials play in between the songs because that's how we all get paid. So sometimes you do have to carry on conversations with people that you wouldn't necessarily be super interested and intrigued about. But that's the challenge, right? Like, it's like we're going to create captivating content no matter what. And sometimes that's the fun of it, if you choose to look at it that way. Would I love to have the complete creative freedom to make all the choices that I want to make? That would be awesome. But that's not the job that I have right now. So I'm just embracing where I am in this moment.
Very well said. What's coming up on the 2025 calendar for the station? Any fun events that you'll be at? Anything that you guys are doing that you are really looking forward to?
Well, Logan and I have this idea that we would love to do a live show. And I saw what you did at the press room. And so we'll have to talk offline about logistics and how you pulled that bad boy off, because it looked like a great success. But we would love an opportunity to connect with our listeners in an interactive show experience. We always have so much fun when we do live broadcasts and bring people up and play games, and everyone just wants to be silly and have a fun night out. So we have big dreams for doing something like that. We'd love to do it at the Music Hall Lounge or something like that.
Very cute spot.
Cutesy, right?
Yeah,
very demure.
Yeah.
So we have dreams for that. That would be awesome for 2025. And obviously the country concert season is packed for the summer. So we'll be out and about and meeting our people and hopefully getting some good stuff for the show. And yeah, it's gonna be a busy year, but a good year.
Heck yeah, busy is good. Let's talk Seacoast.
Okay.
Because we don't do this enough on this show. We might own in on a specific Seacoast business, but I want to give some love to a lot of different places. So
let's do it.
I know you're a big cheese aficionado.
Mm-hmm.
Where's your favorite place to just eat some cheese on the Seacoast? This could be nacho cheese. This could be pizza cheese. If you're just like, I really just want to stuff my face with some cheese on the Seacoast, where are you going?
Wow. Talking cheese to me. Now you're talking my language. So, because you said cheese in any form, I am a Mexican food lover, enthusiast, aficionado, dare I say. And I love they don't always have it, but at Barrio, they have a crab rangoon queso. Your face. It's not good.
I am not a foodie. I don't do anything out of the ordinary.
The nostrils flare. There is a video component to this, but if you're just listening to this on a podcast, his nostrils flared. He looked a little nauseous, but it is really good. If you're a crab rangoon, girly like myself, love that. So I could house that crab rangoon queso, the whole serving, and it's for a family. So yeah.
What other Mexican spots do you like frequenting?
Yeah, I love Barrio.
Vida Cantina. Locos Cocos. La Carreta. Margaritas.
Mm-hmm. Vida Cantina is amazing.
Yep.
I love their chef there.
Mm-hmm. David Vargas, shout out.
Yes, Chef David Vargas. We did a really fun thing at Portsmouth Music Hall with him. It was like we had all these local chefs from the Seacoast. It was a cooking competition. And he won the whole thing. It was great. I got to be a judge. I ate some really good food that night.
What a fun thing to judge.
It was awesome. Loved it. And so, yeah, from then on, I've been a real Chef David Vargas stan, as the kids say.
Okay.
But yeah, as far as Mexican food, Vida Cantina for sure. Barrio. I'll do margaritas now and then.
Yeah. I've never been.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good time. And you said La Carreta?
Yeah.
Do you say those margaritas? Oh, Lord have mercy.
No one
bigger than my head.
No one really ever talks to me about La Carreta, and I don't quite know why. I think it's very good.
So you feel like they're not getting the attention they deserve?
Correct. They're not. Whenever I'm in conversations, just because it's, people are very passionate about food, it's always a great entryway into conversation. Oh, what are your favorite spots in Portsmouth? I still very much lean into like, I'm new here thing, even though I kind of know all the spots by now.
Mm-hmm. There aren't that many.
Yeah. Yeah. And no one ever says, you know what? La Carreta is my favorite. You got to go to La Carreta. Never been mentioned once to me.
I feel like it's very authentic. It's a great vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially the little patio area in the summertime.
Yeah,
you can't beat it.
I mean, their chips and salsa are fantastic.
Yes, and I don't know if you are a fan of booze.
Oh, yeah, I like booze.
Okay, yeah, so because their margaritas will really creep up on you.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you dare have two, you got to be Ubering home.
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So that's Mexican.
Mhm.
What about pizza?
Pizza. We like Otto.
Okay.
Definitely like Otto.
Otto coming to Dover. It may have just opened in Dover or is open in Dover. I'm not sure.
Yes, if it's not open now, it will be very soon. Yeah, we like that mashed potato scallion situation.
Yep.
Who doesn't want like a loaded
Right.
baked potato on your piece of pizza?
Of course.
Carbo load. Let's go, baby.
Yep. The diabetics love that.
Oh, yes. I loved Luigi's. I was really sad it closed in
Yeah,
Portsmouth. I
yeah.
loved those little pepperonis. God, they were cute.
I never got to experience that, but
Oh,
I've,
you
I've
didn't?
heard good things.
Was that before your time?
Yeah, it's before my time.
Okay.
Yeah.
You didn't ask about like high-end Italian, but if you were going to ask me, Massimo's.
Love Massimo's.
Oh,
You know where I haven't been, but I've heard raving things about is Cornicello,
where's that?
Exeter.
Oh, I haven't
I hear
been.
it's very hard to get in there.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's what I hear. But
Well,
Massimo.
that's just going to make me want to go more.
Yeah. I'm sure you can talk to some people.
I don't
You could
do
probably play that card around
I
town.
don't do
Do
that.
you know who I am card?
I do not do that.
No?
That's a bad look. And a lot of times they don't. And that's embarrassing. Not that I've tried, but I always imagine that. I'm like, oh, that would be a bad look. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And also, I can make a reservation.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's fine. We all have open table.
Yeah.
You just got to think ahead.
Yeah. Back to pizza
Yes.
and back to Gaslight. I love Gaslight's pizza. I think their pizza is very good.
Okay. I love that. And I'm glad you brought this up because I think it's problematic that, and I recently learned why, but have you ever noticed that when you go to Gaslight, like if you're sitting out on the patio, you can't order a pizza out on the patio. You have to be sitting downstairs where they have the pizza ovens.
Yeah.
It's like, are we not capable of carrying the trays upstairs?
I don't like the way they divide everything there.
It's
a bit
like, can we
funky.
be more fluid?
Yeah.
You know, like I want to be eating, I want to get your delicious pizza outside. It's the same restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I heard it's
That's
a little
fair.
technical. I talked to someone who worked there, but they have
Okay.
different POS systems.
Of course, yes. Hate when the POS screws up a good night.
Yeah, it's a real POS.
Okay. Was there anything else there was something else pizza-wise. Oh, I've heard far and wide, most people say La Festa in Dover is
Oh my
is
God,
the
how could I forget?
I
So
haven't had it yet.
You
but
haven't?
That pizza and the garlic knots are apparently to die for.
Absolutely. Absolutely the garlic knots. And then I don't know what they call them. But they look like garlic knots, but they're cinnamon sugar. And it's very reminiscent to Auntie Anne's cinnamon sugar, in the mall food courts. So I would definitely pay that a visit at your whenever you're in Dover.
Okay. Whenever I go across the bridge. Something that got very heated in my DMs recently.
Okay.
I posted about beach pizza. I have a friend and a listener of this show, shout out to Jake, who is very passionate about beach pizza. And every time I see him, he keeps telling me, I'm going to take you to the beach pizza places in Hampton. Here we are in Hampton.
Here we are.
And beach pizza, there's two places, Tripoli's, and I forget what the other one
Christie's.
is. In Christie's. It's like a very heated debate. You're either very diehard Christie's or very diehard Tripoli's.
And never the two shall meet.
There is no gray area. Where do you fall on the beach pizza debate? And is it even good at all?
I can't tell if it's good just because I grew up here and it's nostalgic.
Yeah.
Or if it's really good.
Yeah.
When I bring people who aren't from here, they are underwhelmed.
Yeah.
To say the least.
And
I don't know where Jake stands.
Pretty much everyone's consensus was like, this is a uniquely Hampton thing.
Yes.
And so you have to have it, but it's not good pizza.
And everybody knows it.
Yeah.
Or people are stubborn and they're like, it is good. It's just different. I'm a Christie's girl.
Okay.
Do you remember what Jake is?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I think Tripoli's was getting the majority of the votes in my DMs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Nothing has gotten more engagement than just me posting about, listen, I've never really heard anyone besides my one friend talk about beach pizza. Is this a thing or is he crazy? And very much a thing based on the response that I received.
People are so passionate about
Yeah.
it. The things that set people off. I mean,
Yeah.
God, we talking about, do you put your toilet paper roll in over or under,
Right.
like that kind of thing. We could talk about that all morning.
I mean, those are classic radio show debates. The toilet paper, the pineapple on pizza, the goat debate in whatever realm you want to get into. Yeah.
Yes.
That was classic COVID programming on ESPN radio.
100%. 100%. But yeah, the beach pizza thing, definitely niche, definitely local. You definitely have to try it though.
Oh, I'm going to make some video of me trying beach pizza and it'll be great.
You know what really creams my corn is when people get all high and mighty and snobby about pizza and bagels if they're from the tri-state area.
God.
Like, oh, you New Englanders, you don't even understand pizza. We understand it. We get it. Dough, sauce, cheese. We know it. We like it. We're just not snobby about it.
Yeah.
Because it's never bad. Right?
No.
It's never bad.
Pizza.
Even if I get a Hannaford's frozen pizza, it's still going to make me happy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So get off your high horse. Come down here and join us.
On that note, I'm going to get on my high horse because you just said something that a lot of people say around here, and I have to correct you all.
Okay.
It's Hannaford. It's not Hannaford's.
It's not.
There's no apostrophe S.
There's not?
No, but everyone says that, and I don't understand why. I was raised in a family of newspaper editors, so we had dinner table conversations growing up about sentences and spelling and punctuation. So these are things I notice like so easily, and it drives me wild that people say Hannaford's. But everyone does. I'm the weirdo for saying Hannaford.
But that's actually the name is Hannaford.
Yes.
When you said it, I had to close my eyes. You're absolutely right. There's no apostrophe S. Why am I saying that?
Well, everyone else does it. So
I blame my parents.
Of course. Generational trauma. That's why.
Absolutely.
Okay. Are you a coffee drinker like me?
I'm a Dunkin' girly.
You're a Dunkin' girly.
Yes.
Okay. Well, if we were going to talk independent coffee shops on the Seacoast.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Which one creams your corn? If that's I'd never heard that.
Cream
phrase
your corn
until
is
you.
negative. So what blows my hair back, we could talk about that. I like Blue Harbor.
Love Blue Harbor.
It's a great place.
Yep.
I love the vibes. People that work there are really nice. And coffee's good. The bagels are delish. I love their jalapeno cheddar bagel. Mwah. That's a great one. Obviously, I love my girl Mackenzie at Flamingos.
Yeah, shout
She's
out.
doing great things.
Yeah.
Heard her episode with you. What an impressive woman.
Oh my gosh, she's crushing it. Everything she touches turns to gold.
Seriously. And her social media game,
So good.
on point. So those would be my two. I don't think that you would consider Aroma Joe's a local coffee shop.
We can throw that in there. I mean, it is. There's multiple locations of it, but I haven't seen it outside of. Is it in Mass too? I feel like it's in Mass.
I think it's mostly New Hampshire and Maine.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's a New England gem.
Yeah. Okay. So you like Aroma Joe?
I love me some Aroma Joe. The flavors, they're so creative.
Okay.
And you can mix and match and get really weird with it.
Lobster rolls.
Okay.
Where do you go?
God, there's so many choices. That's a hard one. Martingale Wharf
Oh.
in Portsmouth is really good, and we all love a little dinner with a view.
Yeah.
You can't beat that view of Portsmouth Harbor.
I think Martingale Wharf is so underrated.
It's one of those not enough people are talking about. It's not
Yeah.
getting the attention it deserves.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think anyone, and I'll co-sign on this, it's not like the most amazing food of all the places in Portsmouth, but for everything that it offers, I think the ambiance is great, the service is great, the views are great, the prices are great in comparison to other spots in the town, and I think the food is good enough.
It's certainly consistent.
Yeah.
And we like that.
Yeah. I love Martingale Wharf. In fact, it's my go-to first date dinner spot.
I was just going to say it's a good date spot.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is a romantic backdrop for
Yeah,
sure.
exactly.
A good get to know you spot.
Okay. So you like that as your lobster roll spot?
I really do.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Trying to think if I have any other lobster roll spots.
I feel like Ray's is a popular lobster roll spot. I'm sure there's places in Kittery that
Chauncey Creek
I have never heard of that.
Lobster Pier. Really, really good.
Okay.
Yes. It's a modest environment. Like don't feel like you have to dress up. BYOB in the summertime opens usually right after Memorial Day and closes around Labor Day. And it is really good. They have like steamers, lobster rolls, the whole thing. Really good fries. It's a nice time.
Wow.
Are you a seafood boy?
No, not really. I mean, I love me some salmon. I'm a huge salmon fiend, but beyond that, oysters, not really my thing. Clams, not really my thing. Lobster rolls are very good, but the diabetes, no, not great.
Yeah,
so I'll do that once a summer.
Yeah, treat yourself.
Yeah, I'll splurge once a summer and I'll suffer for it.
I mean, I think I'm someone I want a lobster roll maybe once a summer anyway.
Yeah.
I don't think it's an every weekend kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's a treat.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Special occasions.
Beer or cocktails? Choose one.
Cocktails.
Okay. Favorite place to get cocktails in the Seacoast?
I love the Wilder.
Love the Wilder.
Their espresso martini
Yep.
is the bee's knees,
Yeah.
as some would say.
Cup of Joe also makes a fine espresso martini as well.
Funny you say it. I've never been there in the evening.
Oh, yeah.
So-
the freaks come out.
Well, that's what I hear. For the open mic nights and the whole thing. I hear
Yeah.
it's like a completely different scene.
Oh, yeah.
I love a coffee shop that can double as,
Yeah.
like then they do the cocktails at night and it's a whole different vibe.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So I have to check out their espresso martinis. I'm a dirty martini gal with like blue cheese stuffed olives.
Ugh.
Oh, he's doing the face that he did for the crab rangoon queso. Yeah, I love that. I love when my cocktail tastes like I accidentally swallowed water from the ocean. That's what I want.
Okay.
And who does a good dirty martini? So I love Tino's here in Hampton. It is Greek food.
Oh.
And they put out...
I love Greek food.
Okay, so you got to go.
So I need to go to Tino's.
It's probably like 5 minutes from this home. Not to disclose our location for my creepy listeners. But yeah, Tino's is great. They do a great dirty martini, and CR's is also great right down the street.
Oh. Oh, I haven't heard of either of these places. I have so much more Seacoast things to do.
You do. CR's can be a little bit of an older crowd.
Well, I'm used to that around here.
Right? So what's up with that? Where's the youth? Why don't people...
We can't afford it.
We can't afford what?
Living here.
Oh, you think? Okay. Well, I feel like it's so much cheaper than Boston.
Yeah, but not that much, honestly. I mean, the no taxes thing definitely helps. So, but it's not like a crazy difference. So yeah.
Yeah, no, it's true.
And there's also just this perception of New Hampshire that I don't think New Hampshire can shake. Everyone who has not been to New Hampshire in this area is just like, ugh, why would I go to Hickville, USA? There's nothing for me there.
Who do you hang out with? Cows?
Yeah, exactly. But everyone who has that perception and comes here has their minds opened and is like, wait, mountains, cool, cutesy, historic, small local businesses, really great sense of community, and there's the beach, and there's like all these really great restaurants and such. Wait, this is actually pretty sick. And it's not the congestion of Boston, but has access to Boston as well. So it's pretty sweet. But I think no one knows that. And I don't think we do the best job of saying that.
Well, people that live here are like, oh, don't tell anyone how great it is because
Yeah.
we don't want all the mass holes to move here.
Right. What's that about? I mean, as a former mass hole yourself, like why does New Hampshire hate Massachusetts so much?
I have no idea, Troy. It's really not that different.
Yeah.
I lived in Massachusetts for 20 something years and have lived here for the past 5. And it's really not that different at all. So I do not understand.
But people are heated. There's a lot of New Hampshire folks who are like, if they see a mass plate in this state, they'll honk at them or something.
I think they blame them for, just the inconvenience that is the tourist season. There's like, oh, it's all the mass holes flocking up to our beaches. You have your own beaches. Stay away. It's like, well, we kind of do want them here. We want them stimulating our economy. It's good for everybody. And we do live somewhere that a lot of people like to vacation. And I think that's a cool thing. I think it's a positive thing.
I agree with you. Well, I've thoroughly enjoyed talking about the Seacoast with you. We don't do that enough on the show, so thank you for that. I did want to circle back to our let's talk some industry. So I work in podcasting, you work in radio. They are related fields, but they're kind of in like they're going in different trajectories. Podcasting is getting into video as well. So kind of podcasting is undergoing this this identity crisis, I suppose, as so much is shifting toward video, and YouTube is now the number one podcast platform, and radio has been undergoing transformations as well as they've gotten into more digital and is competing against podcasting as well. So I'm just curious how you think about the state of the radio business in 2025, as there's now all of these options for consuming audio.
Yeah, no, it is. It's definitely competitive. And I try to think about why I got into radio in the first place, and it was because of connection. And I think that I just always try to lead with, that's the value that we bring, is that, and I love podcasts, I'm a podcast girl, but what's the difference between someone getting in their car at 7:30 and turning on a podcast that they could listen to after work, or listening to my show? And it's, I'm looking out the window. It's the same time. I'm seeing the same snowstorm you are. I'm about to give you tickets to a show that's right down the street in Hampton. And I'm a person living here in this community that can connect to you in a real way. And I think that is our edge when it comes to syndicated radio shows. It lacks that connection in that real time. And I think that's why sports radio is always going to be relevant too, because sports are the same way. It's in the moment. And I lost my train of thought.
I'll finish it because I know where you're going. In a world of media now where everything is on demand, where I went to the movies 2 months ago. I never go to the movies. I hadn't been to the movies in 5 years. And the person I was going with was saying, we need to choose a time to go. And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that you have to do that not everything is just on my schedule. Everything else I consume is totally up to me. There is something with sports and in pop culture, like the Grammys and the Oscars and those live events. Live events still win because we are so hungry for things happening in real time and to connect around them in real time, where it's live and anything is possible. And that's the magic of live. And that's why radio still, in a lot of markets, is still very successful, because it just has that one element to it that can't really be replicated in podcasts, because that's not the nature of it.
Yes, 100%. You said it more eloquently than I ever could. It's true. It's that, we want that connection around that real life moment, because we lack that.
Yeah.
Now more than ever.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Kira, we have one final question. Mm-hmm. We ask the same final question at the end of every episode every week, and I will ask it to you.
Okay.
So in hindsight, knowing everything that you know now about how things have turned out for you, what advice would you give to your 22-year-old self?
I should have expected this question, because I'm a Seacoast Stories girly. I knew this was coming, but yet it's a surprise. It's like when you go out to eat and the waitress comes, it's like, what do you want to order? I didn't know you were going to ask me that. I think I would tell 22-year-old Kira, though it's tempting to compare your own timeline to other people's, especially in this day and age of social media, that it's okay to do things at your own pace and at different times in your life, and that people are dynamic and can change. And even though I'm someone who hosts a morning radio show right now, doesn't mean that in 10 years I couldn't have a series of children's books or do something completely different. It's never too late to change or pivot or become who you want to be. And I think we're never done evolving, right? We're always living and learning and growing. Don't let the noise of social media and other people's paths and the things that they're accomplishing keep you from being who you want to be. So I think that's what I would say.
That's Kira Lou, one half of Kira and Logan in the Morning on 97.5. To support Kira, you can tune into the show each morning or give her a follow on Instagram at Kira Lou Who. Thanks for listening. And if you see me around town this week, perhaps at Cornicello, Blue Harbor, or Christie's, then please stop me and say hi. I would love to hear your story. As for next week's episode with another Seacoast female powerhouse, here's a sneak peek.
I wanted and I still do want women who are looking for connection, who are wanting to get out to experience something, make their life better, and meet other women.
That's next week on Seacoast Stories. Until then, have a great week. Live free or die.